Good morning. Now we are discussing about the hydrogen atom, its Schrodinger equation, the energy, etc. We know that the hydrogen atom consists of a single proton and a single electron revolving around the proton, which is in the nucleus. As there are only two charged particles, there will be a Coulomb attraction between them, and it can be treated as a two-body problem because of the presence of a single electron and a single proton. So the mass of the system can be reduced to mu equals m1 m2 by m1 plus m2, where mu is called the reduced mass of the two-body problem. m1 and m2 are the masses of the electron and proton. If there are no external fields, then the potential energy is given by V equals minus E square by 4 pi epsilon naught R, where E is charge of the electron, pi epsilon naught are constants, and R is the separation between the electron and the proton. The Hamiltonian of the hydrogen is given by H is equal to P square by 2 mu plus V, where P is the momentum operator, mu the reduced mass, and V the potential energy given above. So can be written as equal to P square by 2 mu minus E square by 4 pi epsilon naught. In the next step, we write the momentum operator value, that is equal to therefore minus H square by 8 pi square mu into D square by dr square minus E square by 4 pi epsilon naught. I took negative as common, therefore the Hamiltonian H is equal to minus of H square by 8 pi square mu into grad square instead of D square by dr square plus E square by 4 pi epsilon naught R. The above equation gives the total energy of the system, total energy of the hydrogen atom, that is the two-body problem. The Schrodinger equation is given by the expression grad square psi equal plus 8 pi square mu by H square into E minus V of psi equals 0, or grad square psi plus 8 pi square mu by H square into E plus, instead of V, we are writing the value of V, that is minus of minus becomes plus, it is E square by 4 pi epsilon naught R of psi equals 0. Let me call this as equation 1. Now, by making use of spherical coordinates, so these are the spherical coordinates, that is grad square equals 1 by r square d by dr of r square d by dr plus 1 by r square sin theta d by d theta of sin theta d by d theta plus 1 by r square sin square theta into d square by d phi square. This is the spherical coordinates, grad square in terms of spherical coordinates. If we substitute for grad square in equation 1, it becomes 1 by r square d by dr of r square d psi by dr plus 1 by r square sin theta d by d theta of sin theta d psi by d theta plus 1 by r square sin square theta d square psi by d phi square plus 8 pi square mu by H square into E plus of E square by E 4 pi epsilon naught R of psi equals 0. So I call this as equation 2. Now it becomes, let us multiply equation 2 throughout by r square sin square theta. We are multiplying this equation by r square sin square theta. The r square gets cancelled over here, therefore it becomes a square sin square theta in the numerator. And here r square and 1 sin theta gets cancelled, therefore it will be just sin theta, and here both will cancel, and here there is nothing to cancel. Therefore it becomes sin square theta d by dr r square d psi by dr plus sin theta d by d theta of sin theta d psi by d theta plus d square psi by d phi square plus 8 pi square mu r square sin theta by h square of E plus E square by 4 pi epsilon naught of 4 pi epsilon naught R of psi equals 0. But this wave function psi is a function of r theta phi. It is a function of spherical coordinates. Before applying spherical coordinates, wave function was a function of x and t or r and t. Now it is a function of r theta phi. After applying spherical coordinates, and this can be written as psi1 a function of r only, psi2 a function of theta only, and psi3 a function of phi only. Now substituting this instead of psi in equation 3 and dividing by the same throughout, we get sin square theta by psi1 into d by dr of r square d psi1 by dr plus sin theta by psi2 into d by d theta of sin theta d psi2 by d theta plus 1 by psi3 of d square psi3 by d phi square plus 8 pi square mu r square sin square theta by h square into e plus e square by 4 pi epsilon naught equals 0. Now, sin square theta by psi1 d by dr of r square d psi1 by dr plus sin theta by psi2 into d by d theta of sin theta d psi2 by d theta plus 8 pi square mu r square sin square theta by h square of e plus e square by 4 pi epsilon naught r is equal to minus 1 by psi3 d square psi3 by d phi square. I call this as equal to mu L square. The RHS of equation 4 is taken as equal to mu L square, or this can be written as d square psi3 by d phi square plus mu L square psi3 equals 0. I call this as equation 5, and this equation 5 is called the azimuthal equation. Azimuthal equation. I substitute the RHS of equation 4 by mu L square. Therefore it becomes. And also I have divided the same equation throughout by sin square theta, and therefore it becomes mu L square by sin square theta on the RHS. On the LHS it is 1 by psi1 d by dr of r square d psi1 by dr plus 1 by psi2 sin theta d by d theta of sin theta d psi2 by d theta plus 8 pi square mu r square by h square of e plus e square by 4 pi epsilon naught r. That will be the terms in the LHS. So rewriting again, 1 by psi1 d by dr of r square d psi1 by dr plus 8 pi square mu r square by h square into e plus e square by 4 pi epsilon naught, that is equal to mu L square by sin square theta minus 1 by psi2 sin theta d by d theta of sin theta d psi2 by d theta, and each equal to a constant. And that constant will be equal to L into L plus 1. L into L plus 1 is the constant. L into L plus 1, you can say here, both the terms are written. And this is the first term equal to L plus L. The first term equal to L into L plus 1 gives equation 6. And the second term equal to again L into L plus 1 gives equation 7. Equation 6 is called the radial equation, and equation 7 is called the polar equation. Equation 5 is called the azimuthal equation. This is azimuthal. And equation 6 is the radial equation, and equation 7 is the polar equation. The variables in the Schrodinger equation can be separated and solved subjected to the conditions. The solution of psi should be single valued, continuous, and should have continuous first derivatives. Using the above conditions, energy of the electron is given by the expression En equals minus mu e power 4 by 8 epsilon naught square h square into 1 by n square. Mu is the reduced mass, E the charge of the electron, epsilon naught is the permittivity of free space, h is Planck's constant. Substituting all these constant values and simplifying, we get as minus 13.6 by n square electron volt, where n is the principal quantum number, which is the only variable. Thank you.